If you like to eat, drink, and be merry, you're in the right place. Faith here with a welcome toast. It was Winston Churchill who said, "Most people hate the taste of beer to begin with. It is, however, a prejudice that many people have been able to overcome." Please feel free to consume this show podcast in small bites or eat the whole thing.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Faith Middleton Food Schmooze. I'm Chris Prosper. Faith is out, so the gang and I are running the show. Cheese lovers, this one's for you. New Haven's own Jason Sobocinski of Casius, Ordinary, and the Cheese Truck joins the party once again. Jason, who could talk cheese for days, gives us ideas for a fall cheese plate. Our resident wine guy will guide us through the best cheese and wine pairings. Plus, we'll taste some Oktoberfest beers, and I'll give you a recipe that works with Oktoberfest and the entire tailgating season. Go Huskies! I'm in the studio with senior contributor Alex Province, senior producer Robyn Doyon-Aitken, and our special guest, always good to have him, Jason Sobocinski. Hey, everybody.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome, Jason.
Thanks
are
for
we
having
ready
me.
to get started?
Can
We
smell
are.
the cheese. Stinks in here.
So let's start with a confession. I put together, when I have get-togethers at my house, especially girls' night, that sort of thing, I put together the most embarrassing, boring cheese plate that I know.
That
a
can't be too true.
I know. So I'll tell you what's on it, and then please give me some help. So I have the very basics. You know, I'm talking about cheddar, a Swiss, maybe a Munster with some wheat crackers and bread, grapes, and maybe, if I'm feeling especially confident, I'll have some honey or something like that. So
You're in the right direction.
She sounds so sad, though.
Yeah.
Jason, give her some confidence, Jason. She sounds like she's going to
Robyn,
cry.
are you just not excited about the cheeses that you're putting out? Are they...
I think it's that I maybe don't know enough about cheese to know how to do it in a very interesting way. So I pick cheeses that I know everybody eats, I know everybody likes.
Let me ask you this. After you're putting out this, which sounds like a pretty ubiquitous but not terrible cheese board, are people commenting on it? Are they talking about it? Are there oohs and ahs, or is there silence?
Well,
Do
there's a
these
lot of
cheeses
drinking.
work with the wine or beer
lot
that
of
you've
wine.
put out? And is there a bunch left over at the end of the get-together?
I always put cheese back in the fridge after.
Yeah, you're serving the wrong cheese.
Wow, there it is.
There it
There's
is.
a good indication. You
Yeah,
put it out, and it goes right back.
That's
If
right.
you're putting it back in the refrigerator, then you're probably serving the wrong cheese. But I would also say that there is no wrong cheese. I love all cheeses.
Me too.
You know, I know we're gonna talk about tailgating later. I'm into whiz at times too. You know, so I don't want to come across as
Steak
a
sandwiches, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
cheese whiz is a
With
neat-
whiz,
Yeah,
you know.
with whiz.
I don't want to
about
come
the can?
across as,
Yeah, the
as
can,
being
too.
the can,
Oh,
and I'm
no.
gonna put my foot down.
Yeah.
there.
Okay, come
It's
on.
actually
I'll
not
even
that
do the
bad.
can. I'll even do the can. All right, but go
But
ahead.
let's
a
define
pimento.
cheese as milk coagulated. I like to say that cheese is first and foremost made with milk. A lot of your whizzes or your cheese foods, those are actually made with oils, and also like vegan cheese. I don't subscribe to that. I don't recognize it, so I'll just put that out there. Besides that, I love all
the
cheese.
little disclaimer, except for
Yeah, so we're getting right into autumn, and I like to think very seasonally when it comes to cheese, and I like to be simple. We recommend no more than 3 cheeses for the beginning of a get-together, and maybe even less if you're putting cheese out for afterwards. If you want to go really simple and you don't want to spend a ton of money, right now, classic cloth-bound cheddars in the English style. Cabot cloth bound is what we have here in the studio.
I've seen that in markets, right?
Cabot
Regular
cloth
markets.
bound
Yeah.
is one of the most award-winning American cheeses. This is a combination effort between the brothers, Andy and Mateo, at Jasper Hill Farm in Greensboro, Vermont, and the Cabot Collective.
It includes milk from Connecticut,
It
right?
includes milk from all over New England.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, when you are a farmer that's producing milk for Cabot, you're essentially an owner of the company.
Yeah.
And they're making some really solid, good-eating cheddars.
Yeah.
So Cabot Cloth Bound, they're bringing milk in from select farms.
Yeah.
They're adding cultures to that milk that really bump up the flavor. An ingredient that's added to cheese that a lot of people don't know about are cultures. Okay. And these are strains of bacteria, essentially, that are coming from France, they're coming from the United States, and they just add the flavors that really push the cheese over the top.
Okay.
For me, I get like round, rich white chocolate with like hints of tobacco, smoke. It's sharp, but it's subtle, and it's got this sweet finish. This cheese is aged for quite some time in caves at Jasper Hill that have been dug out. They can age thousands of wheels at a time. They actually have a guy on a forklift that goes around and hand turns these cheeses. They
it's a
are
huge wheel.
Really heavy, really intense, labor-intensive process.
What's the cloth do?
It is wrapped around the cheese and then larded.
Like
actually,
fat?
Yeah, they use fat. This is a traditional English style. It seals in moisture, but allows the cheese to breathe. You can mature the cheese very slowly. This is called affinage, the art of aging cheese. You can really develop really rich, round flavors without drying the cheese out.
I have a question about aging because that's another confusing thing. When you go to the supermarket, and a lot of people do buy their cheeses in regular supermarkets,
Absolutely.
you see things that are, right, the cheese case, the middle aisle kind of thing.
Yep.
You see things like 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 18 months. Is that something that you do for different styles of cheese boards? I mean, why choose a 6-month over an 18-month or an 18-month over a 6-month?
Especially when it comes to cheddars, it's going to come down to the intensity of sharpness. The older, the more aged the cheese is, the drier it's going to be, the more intense the flavors are going to come through. It's just like wine. It can vary from different cheeses.
Producers, right?
And producers, cultures
Can it go
they've
too
added.
far?
You can certainly go too far. I mean, there's lots of examples of Alpine cheeses that I buy where I feel like sometimes they've gone too far in the age, and it's taken a cheese that had a subtle, round, sweet flavor and almost made it too almost in the Parmesan region. And I like Parmesan, so let's keep it that.
Into mac and cheese or something?
It gets ground up, thrown in mac and cheese.
Okay, so taste it, see what you like.
Taste it.
Yeah, buy the types you want to explore. Go to cheese tastings, I guess, right?
Casius, we have at least 2 cheese classes a month.
I might need one of
Robyn.
those.
Robyn, you should come.
Robyn, do you want to sign up now? How do we sign up?
On our website, casiusnewhaven.com, we have an Eventbrite link. We put them up. Usually there's 5, 6, 7 cheeses, depending on what the theme of the class is, and we pair them with either wines or beers. Basically, you're going to walk through from a light cheese down to a very strong cheese and adding strength in whatever the libation is. And you're going to learn about the story of the cheese.
In Holland, they have these cheese slicers. It seems like how you cut a cheese affects how a cheese tastes.
Yes. So we will definitely talk about proper cheese cutting. You want to make sure. When you have a small form of cheese where you're going to buy the whole wheel, it's really important that if you're going to put it out on your cheese plate, that you leave it whole. One of the things that drives me crazy when I see a cheese plate is when the cheese is cut into cubes or slices.
Toothpick's already in it.
That cheese.
I do that all the time.
I know. It's ease so that your guests can come and grab a bite, but that cheese is being exposed to the air and the environment, it's drying out, and then it's so terrible for it. So if you can
put your cheese away, Robyn,
that makes perfect sense.
I really love to do simple. And so if I were to have some friends over, I would probably get a big old hunk of Cabot cloth bound, and I would put it on either a board or just a plate.
Beautiful cheese board you made for us.
This board that I brought is an old bread peel.
Or use a cutting board, a large wooden cutting board, right?
You can use a
piece
large
of lumber.
wooden cutting board. You can actually, you say a piece of lumber jokingly, but you can go to Home Depot and you can get scrap sections of oak. Bring those home, sand them, and butcher block oil them, and they make
wax them.
Awesome. Cheese plates. We also do slates are really great, but simple is best. So if you can greet your guests with a big old slab of Cabot cloth bound, some sliced apples, maybe a very dry sparkling cider, just a glass of it to start, that's a great way.
All right, so take us into another cheese. So we're going to do a cheddar. So this is Robyn's new cheese plate.
In the fall, I love Gouda. It's rich, it's sweet, everyone loves it, it's really robust, and it'll please the soul. I brought 2 different Goudas.
And they get, the longer you age them, the stronger. Like the one you have has the crystals in it.
We brought the Pradera. That's a 7-year aged cow's milk Gouda. It has the crystals, which are tyrosine crystals. This tells you that the cows were outside eating grass. Grass has protein. Way more protein in grass than there is in feed.
Okay.
I got to back you up just a little bit, though. Gouda cheddar.
Absolutely.
What is the difference between Gouda cheddar? Because the names are...
So the process by which you make cheddar, you do a cheddaring. So you cut your curds into pretty large slabs, and you stack them on top of each other, moving them constantly.
Okay.
Sort of lowering your pH.
So it becomes acidic.
Exactly.
Yep.
Because of the process in making cheddar, most cheddars are actually lactose-free. All Cabot cheddars are lactose-free.
No kidding. All right, now Gouda.
So Gouda is made in
We're
Holland.
not going to call it Gouda.
You can call it. We can do that. Gouda. We do have two really beautiful traditional Dutch Goudas here.
Yeah.
The process that you make Gouda is before you take your curds and put them into forms, and that's where you get the forma, formaggio, you actually drain all the whey out.
Okay.
And
The
then
clear liquid.
The clear liquid, yep, the liquid component, and the whey is what you get, ricotta from. It's what you feed your pigs to make Parma prosciutto, all those wonderful things. You drain the whey out, but then you add fresh water back into the vat, and you do a process called washing the curds. You wash away a lot of the lactic acid that's present in there. And that's where you get that sort of tanginess, that bitterness.
So I'm wondering if water then, I'm sure where this stuff is made in the water source plays a role in the minerals.
Water is
and else.
very important in cheese production. There's actually a lot more water than people would think.
Wow.
And that makes it a milder cheese then, right?
Well,
Not as sharp, not as
What
acidic.
it does is it makes it sweeter.
Sweeter. Okay.
The lactose sugars get to come through because they're not fighting with the acid, and that's why these Goudas are sweet.
So you have
and
the
bright.
lactose, the sugar.
All right, now I'm getting it. So, Robyn, right? An acidic cheese, the
We have the
sharp
cheddar.
cheddar, and then we're going to play off number 2 cheese on your cheese boards, a sweet cheese. There is a thinking process building your cheese board. There's a purpose.
The other thing I just want to touch on, these are pretty hard cheeses. So in the summertime, I like pasta filata cheeses. I like soft water cheeses. I like fresh mozzarella, bright fetas. I like fresh chev. These are light, soft cheeses.
Sauvignon Blanc territory.
Exactly.
And as we get into fall...
and things become crisper. It's funny, it's colder out, but it's warmer inside. These are sit by the fire and eat these cheeses. You wouldn't want to do that with a buffalo mozzarella.
So one of the things I notice, if I leave hard cheeses out to come to temperature, room temperature, they taste so much better than if they're icy cold out of the refrigerator.
All cheese, absolutely.
The oils start coming out a little bit too,
They'll
and they
sweat.
just become. I love that.
Yep. So, Robyn, do you...
I may be guilty of picking a lot of safe cheeses, but I do know that I need to take them out at least like a half an hour ahead of time so that they're not so cold that the flavor doesn't come through at all.
Cool.
That's good, but don't cut them up anymore.
I'm not going to.
Anymore. We don't like that.
All right.
know.
So take us home for our third cheese.
Now, if we really want to cross over into the connoisseur range, and I don't mean that to sound snotty, because I know the people that make these cheeses, and they're the least snotty people in the world. And what they do is
Farmers,
they eat.
right?
They're farmers. They eat the cheese that they wouldn't sell to you. And you know what they eat it with?
Yep.
They eat it with a loaf of bread.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah,
Maybe
no
an apple.
fancy chutneys, no roasted pears.
When I was working at a small goat farm just outside of Millbury, Vermont, every day we would pick the ugliest, most beat up, deformed cheese.
Yep.
We'd bring it up. We'd have a crusty loaf of bread and
that
a
was
beer.
lunch.
Maybe some mustard. And that was the most satisfying
Whatever
lunch.
that baguette that you brought,
Yep.
that with a bite full of the cloth bound. I mean, that and a splash of wine. It's so
heaven.
cliche, but it's so good.
It's heaven, yeah.
Oh my god!
So
so take us to the next
next
tier.
level is going to be something that's like your camembert. I brought a pretty strong Fermier camembert from Normandy. It's great for the fall. It works perfectly with apples. But if you want to go next level,
Yeah, I want to talk about your cheese.
that next
that's
level, then we're going to go into wash rind cheeses.
Yeah.
So your wash rind cheeses, they're washed with either an alcohol or a lot of times just a saltwater brine.
And what does that do?
What that does is it brings out a bacterium called B linens, brebilinins, which give a sort of funky orange-ish tint to the rind, creates a thicker rind. Now that thickness of the rind makes it so that as the cheese ages, it begins to cook itself. Lactic acid is moving its way out. It hits the rind that you've created by washing. It goes back into the cheese and starts cooking it. So as you look at one of these pieces of cheese, you'll see that the center sometimes is a lot firmer, but closest to the rind.
It has a little liquid.
So when you say
liquid.
cooking, is it like how
It's
an acid cooks
it's like ceviche.
So,
Exactly.
just the
Yep.
proteins are being denatured.
They're just breaking down.
All right, so give us some names
So
we know what to recognize.
So you guys have
in
the
these
the
wash rinds.
Camembert Fermier. I brought a real deal Munster.
There we go.
From Alsace.
That has a natural color.
That's got that funky. And then I brought a new cheese. It's actually an old cheese that we've sort of retooled called Sea Change from the Mystic Cheese Company.
This is your cheese company.
Made here in Connecticut by Brian Civitello up in Lebanon in a shipping container.
I love that.
It's awesome. I like these cheeses for the fall because they are so robust. They're big, they're stinky, they're fatty. They fill your mouth with fat, which is the perfect opportunity to then take a really nice fall wine that's crisp and a little heavier and wash that down, or an Oktoberfest beer, a lager, a Marzen, and just kind of wash that out. That to me that's heaven. That's fall.
Well, now that I know what I should be putting on my cheese plate, I need to know what I should be serving to drink with that.
But you're good. You got a good basis now.
But Robyn, I just want to make sure to say that you can do this in the supermarket, but find a great reputable cheese shop. If anyone tells you can't taste the cheese, don't buy it. Turn around. Find a new cheese shop because you should be able to taste everything you buy. Yeah. The cheeses they're intimidating. They smell funny. They look funny. They're expensive. So make sure that you love it and try everything.
How do you preserve them? So if you're going to go, because cheeses can be like $20-something a pound. So you buy this stuff. How do you?
So a couple tips that I have.
Preserve it at home.
A great cheese shop will wrap your cheese up in cheese paper.
Okay.
It is specially formulated paper.
It's like a wax paper almost?
It's almost like a parchment, but it has breathability.
Okay.
So you can let the cheese breathe. Cheese is alive. It needs to breathe. I like to separate my cheese. So because, I eat a lot of vegetables fresh, I take the vegetable crisper drawer, get the vegetables out of there, make it a cheese cave. Yeah. Make it a cheese cave, put all your cheeses in there. If you can't do that, a nice Tupperware that you open up every day and sort of burp. You don't want your cheese sitting next to your Kung Pao chicken.
You want fresh air coming in?
Exactly.
Okay.
The cheese will taste like whatever is in your refrigerator. So sort of
separate it out.
Separating it out is really important.
And I know at the very end, when we have a cheese drawer, I'm going to call it cave now as well.
Yeah, it's a cave.
So as we end up with these like scraps, though, I save all those and I make the best macaroni and cheese every couple of months.
And
clean up.
Our good buddy Jacques Papin, he taught me food processor, all your ugly bits.
Grind them up.
A little bit of fresh lemon juice and a little bit of honey. Get that into a nice sort of like spreadable, schmearable on a baguette, under the broiler. Nice. Best thing in the world.
Oh, wow.
And it tastes different all the time. Because
every time it's different.
Yeah, exactly. Different cheese. Coming up, Alex will take us through the next part of our cheese plate, which is choosing the right wine. There are so many excellent Oktoberfest beers to try right now. We'll talk about some favorites, including those from local breweries like Two Roads in Stratford and Black Hog in Oxford. Grab a bowl of pretzels. These beers are fresh, hoppy, and crafted by masters. We hope you make a charitable donation to help feed the hungry. This is the time when food pantries across the state work especially hard to serve their communities. Give if you can. We'll be right back.
Okay, hope that first bite of the food schmooze felt like a hot biscuit with butter coming your way. Feel free to tell your food-loving friends worldwide they can enjoy the show and our online site at foodschmooze.org. Here's your second bite.
Ein Prosit, der Gemütlichkeit. Ein Prosit, der Gemütlichkeit.
Faith reminds you every week about our podcast because we never want you to miss a drop of pleasure. Sign up for it on our site, foodschmooze.org, and the podcast automatically pops up in your podcast feed every week. Go to our homepage, click the tab that says Get the Podcast. It's simple and it's free. I'm senior producer Robyn Doyon-Aitken, and I'm in the studio with Faith's food buddies and cheese lovers, Chris Prosperi, chef and co-owner of Metro Beast in Simsbury, and wine broker Alex Province. Our special guest is hyperlocal Jason Sobocinski of Caseus Ordinary, my favorite bar in New Haven. It's how I start every date night with my husband. Nice. I have the bee's knees and the grilled cornbread. You can also find Caseus cheese on the cheese truck, where you can get the best grilled cheese sandwich in town.
The world.
Yeah. The world. I'm sorry, Jason, you're right. Okay. In our last segment, the guys taught me what I should be putting on my fall cheese plate. I feel completely educated now. I'm ready. Now I want to know what I should be serving for wine. Alex, can you help me?
Yes, I'm happy to. I brought in a couple, a white and a red. The first myth is that all cheese goes with red wine, and that's not true.
No.
Oftentimes, whites go better than red, using like Rieslings and Gewürztraminer, and those are great cheese.
Acid.
And a little bit of residual sugar plays off stuff. But I did also want to bring a classic aged Bordeaux. So I brought a 2009 vintage, which is a spectacular year. And I thought we would do a little taste test. Everyone has a piece of the cloth-bound cheddar.
Is it better with red or better with white?
The Bordeaux is going to go really well.
You think
with
so?
this. I suspect it will.
Okay.
Nice.
I've done it once or twice.
Alex talking from lots of experience.
But this is how you learn about great pairings.
Red wine, big Bordeaux have tannins, and they bind to fat. And so this fatty cheese is in your mouth when you try the Bordeaux.
It's wonderful.
The tannins will stick to the fat, and you'll get this really fun mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It brings the cheddar to a new place in my mouth. Right?
It's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. That works for me.
So if I got the cloth-bound cheddar, any Bordeaux?
Bordeaux's can be incredibly expensive, and there can be really inexpensive bad ones. You sort of have to go to a good wine shop. Like all good things, go to a good cheesemonger, and these guys can steer you.
Talk it out.
The one that I brought is called Au Castanet. It's made by this guy named Jean-Luc Touavin, who is famous for being a garagiste. He was the first guy who started making wines
I love it.
in a garage.
That's what I was
And
like,
he-
I know what that means.
He really turned Bordeaux on its head. He bought a vineyard on the wrong side of Saint-Emilion, and he would just pull off the green leaves. He would pull off green fruit just to produce a really special wine in a garage.
This wine is
Yeah,
good.
I love. How much?
This is about $18.
It's not bad.
It's called Au Castanet. He's the bad boy of Bordeaux, so it's kind of fun. So, if
So,
anyone's-
Robyn, write that down, right? Oh, no, we have it on our website.
That's
But-
right. I will post a picture of the wine and a description of it too on foodschmooze.org.
Another classic saying that we use is what grows together goes together.
Agreed.
These regional cheeses oftentimes come from wine regions as well, and so the cheese complements the wine. So I brought a Sauvignon Blanc from a region from the Loire called Sancerre. The Loire and Sancerre, they're famous for their goat cheese.
cheese, yeah.
And you brought a beautiful goat cheese, so the idea is we should pair it with that goat cheese, which has great acidity, and Sancerre has great acidity. So now we're playing off the harmony there. Sancerre has minerals, so it tastes like I always use the example like drinking Poland Spring that has, like spring.
Yeah.
It tastes like, like irony and some minerals. And then it also has fruit, and that comes from these two soil types. So you guys want to try some of the cheese?
Yeah.
And it's not, it's not from the Loire, but it's a goat cheese, so I like your thought process.
I really like this one.
Make sure you coat your whole mouth with that fat.
So that goat cheese is absolutely incredible. Everyone has now a piece of goat cheese. We're going to do the Sancerre. So Sancerre is the region. The grape is Sauvignon Blanc. This one's called Serge Laporte, Laporte.
It's
This
amazing.
one brings the fruit forward in the wine
See, that's
really
the
nicely.
cool thing is it's not just changing the cheese
No, the
flavor.
wine
Sometimes
changes.
it changes the wine as well,
Big time,
right?
yeah. I always say a great pairing is not necessarily, I love the wine, I love the cheese, or the beer and the cheese. A really great pairing is when you're not crazy or over the moon about either one, but when you have them together,
That's it.
it transcends.
So how much is this one?
Sancerres are expensive
Yep.
because they can't be imitated. $27 a bottle. If you wanted to do the same experiment, you could find a Sauvignon Blanc from a different region and sort of
This is
replicate
this
what
is
we're
a
doing.
really nice date night wine.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking this is also when you come home from dinner. So you date night, you go out to
Yeah.
dinner, Robyn. Come home, you have the cheese already out on the counter, the wine in the fridge, ready to go. Sort of extend the
with,
night.
With wine, the idea is that you have people that are drinkers, pour whatever is in their glass. That's when you bring out the wholesome, simple $10, $15 wines. Then there's other wines that a lot of energy went into making them, and that's when you want to use a nice glass. You want to be with people that like wine.
And you
sort
want to
of
have a nice piece of cheese to go
you
along
want some
with it.
nice cheese.
Yeah, if you're going for the experience,
This is it.
the white
So,
way to go.
so a nice goat cheese with a Sancerre, right?
So some other classic pairings that we didn't bring in, but port and blue cheeses is
Oh,
like
sure.
you know,
Absolutely.
a British
Sweet and
Stilton and some
Stiltons, yeah.
port would be incredible. if, there's any white Burgundy drinkers, that would have also worked with the hard cheeses that we brought. People who like sweeter whites, that would also have gone really nicely with your stinky cheeses. They always say like a Gewürztraminer or Riesling or Sautern.
A good rule of thumb is if you have a really sort of smelly, stinky, robust cheese, something sweet. So fortified wines are awesome.
Marsalas, ports.
Yeah.
So what about champagne or sparkling?
It goes with everything. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. And it would, right? It would pair with all those cheeses on the board.
So champagne loves salt, it loves fat, it loves French fries,
It loves
potato
me.
chips, cheese.
I have never done a champagne and French fry tasting.
Well, maybe that's your next
like,
case.
That sounds like a dinner.
Poutine and champagne.
It's the salt and fat, and then the bubbles sort of clean your mouth out.
Yes.
All right, Robyn,
Excellent, Alex,
Robyn,
excellent.
I want to be invited to your next party because I know what the cheese plate and the wine are going to
French
be.
fries and champagne.
My game is so upped right now that all of a sudden people are going to be looking forward to.
All your friends are listening, so you got to come through now.
I know, I have to deliver. So let's change gears a little bit to what we should be drinking for Oktoberfest.
Oh, yeah.
Love
Yeah.
Oktoberfest beers.
Oktoberfest-
Right? They've been out for a little while now.
Because technically,
Last Saturday.
Oktoberfest is in September.
It should be, yeah.
Right, it runs
exactly.
through the middle of September until the first Sunday of October, I believe. But it's called Oktoberfest, and the traditional beer to drink since the late 1700s, when the festival was started in honor of a King Ludwig in Bavaria, in Munich, Bavaria, Germany, was Marzen. And so now a Marzen is a lager that is made in March and slowly ferments. As lagers do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm counting on my fingers here.
Yeah.
How many
October.
months?
It slowly ferments into and through the summer. Back in the 1800s, this was a really dark beer.
Okay.
Over the years, it's gotten lighter and lighter into what I think is the quintessential fall beer. It's sort of amber in color. It's
You
round.
said
It's
honey,
rich.
and you
Yeah, what's the
tasted
flavor?
it.
Honey.
Honey.
I get
honey.
maltiness.
Yeah.
I get tons of round, sort of subtle honey notes.
Yeah.
Which also play really nicely with cheddars, things like that. And these type of beers remind me of wet hop beers, which I brought from Black Hog.
Yeah, let's
but also
start with
out.
that one. So that's like your style of...
Well, so wet hop beers have been around for a while.
Okay.
Hops are rhizomes. They only produce hop cones once a year.
Okay.
They grow in vines, usually straight up.
And the hop cones is what they harvest to make the beer?
So it's like a pine cone almost?
It almost looks like a pine cone, but much smaller, depending on there's so many different hop varieties. There's varieties that are really citrusy. There's varieties that taste like onions and garlic.
So when you say wet, though, is it just like spinach is wet?
Because hops are only harvested once a year, and it's
Okay.
usually around the end of August, beginning of September, most hops are harvested, and it's a labor-intensive process. You have to have a fancy machine. New England is actually a terrible place to grow hops.
But we are growing some
We
in
are
Connecticut.
growing some. It's a hard climate, but they take those hops.
What's
they,
a good climate, like Bavaria or something?
Germany is pretty well known, but the Pacific Northwest is awesome.
Okay, so
So
milder and wetter.
you want a little bit milder. You want some dry climate too. We have a lot of humidity, and that humidity causes downy mildew.
Okay,
And
so-
once a hop plant gets downy mildew,
It's all over.
It's all over.
the crop is over. And remember, it's one crop a year, so a
Okay.
hop farmer really has to be careful.
So this year's been good then.
This was a good crop. Typically, most of the hops that we use and a lot of places use, they're dried. They're nitrogen cooled into a powder and then pelletized.
To make beer all year long,
You have to pick them,
dry
and so
I
and so
see.
you
You
pick
preserve
them.
them.
Yeah.
Yep, you pick them at their prime, and if you open up a hop flower or a hop cone, you'll see sort of a yellow powder inside. That's the lupulin.
Okay.
That's where you get this big hop flavor. That's where you
Bitter.
get floral, bitter, tannic.
Okay.
That's where you get, depending on the hop. We use a hop called Chinook that tastes like pineapples. We use a hop called Nugget that tastes like and marijuana.
Tastes like what?
We actually at Black Hog up in Oxford,
Which that's your brewery.
That's my brewery. Myself, my brother Tom, and our master brewer, the Lord of the Liquid, we call him, Tyler Jones. So what we've done
Crack
is
it open there, Alex.
All right.
we've found a farm. They go and cut the vines down for us,
okay.
and we stand there and we pick the cones, the hop cones.
Yeah.
Usually it's about 10 of us for about 6 to 7
So
hours.
each vine has how many of these?
Well, if you do it right, you can have hundreds.
Really?
These
Okay.
are
You guys
like
ready?
Yeah.
Ready. Pop
Favorite
pop
song?
it.
it. Nice.
That's very sexy. We
Right,
hand
pour
pick these
away.
hops and we get them into our kettle.
Yeah.
Where you would traditionally use dried hops These are going into a big cheesecloth bag, fresh.
So breathable.
So what is the difference in flavor between the fresh and the dried?
So the dried is going to give you that really bitter, hoppy. People say
flavor.
hoppy.
Like an
which-
IPA.
Yep. Hops are preservatives, and an IPA is an ale that is hopped enough so that it can make the trip from England to the Indian islands to
Nice,
get
and
spices.
that's where it got the
and
name
that's where
of
you
the
get that
Pale Ale.
name. They're able to preserve the beer and make it so that it's potable for a very long time on a ship.
Why
I
is it
just
called
love
Black
this.
Hog?
I have 3 children. For every one of their birthdays, I roast a pig, and we sit around and drink beer while the pig roasts for a very long time. And I always use Berkshire pigs, and those are Black Hogs.
Yes.
We
Yep.
wanted to name the brewery after something that we love, which is sitting around with friends and family and drinking beer.
I love it.
This is so refreshing. I
And
love
so
it.
this is not a Marzen style. We
Okay.
make ales, not lagers, because of the way they ferment takes such a long time.
But I would take this for my Oktoberfest this year.
And look out for wet hot beers because there are so many
do you
breweries that
sell
are
this
making
at
them
the
now.
brewery?
This particular one, Connecticut Love Bomb, is sold just at the brewery. Don't make
That's all
enough
right.
of it
It's in
to
Oxford,
get
and
it
I'm
out
on
there.
my way.
Yeah.
So Robyn, you were saying how you went into a wine shop or package store. You were asking for Oktoberfest, and you were curious what the definition of that specifically, because they were trying to sell you pumpkin
Well,
beer
yeah,
too.
exactly.
Right.
They were showing me a bunch of seasonal beers. So they showed me some pumpkin beers, which I love, but I wanted real, true Oktoberfest beer.
Oktoberfest with a K.
Yes.
Aktobe.
Yes.
And Jason actually brought us one.
A true,
That's right.
German,
So let's try that
authentic
one.
Bavarian festival lager. So
I
remember,
loved this one,
Oktoberfest
Jason.
is the world's largest beer festival. People travel from all over the world and they drink beer. Technically, there are 5 different Oktoberfest official brews, but then lots of other traditional breweries are making this Marzen style.
And this is
my personal favorite one. This
what
is
is
called the Eyinger
that's
Oktoberfest Marzen, and I love this. I just feels like I'm drinking fall.
I can see
took
myself
dried
sitting in
leaves
that
and made a
beer
tea.
garden in Germany because I've been there a few times and sitting there and drinking this.
Well,
It
Chris,
takes
I
you
can
back-
picture you in
Okay.
some Lederhosen.
Oh, yeah.
So-
And no, listen, I'm Austrian. I
Yes.
have Lederhosen. So, yeah, I can show you some pictures. Oh, wait, before we move on to other Oktoberfest, speaking of beer gardens,
Yes.
there might be one coming here soon.
I started Casius on my own, but everything that I've worked on since has been with amazing partners. And so I've got 2 good buddies that are up in Hartford, Jamie the Bear McDonald from Bear
Love Bear
Smokehouse.
Yep, we love
Killer
them.
barbecue. We love him. Also, just really jive with his philanthropic spirit. The guy
Yes.
gives more of his profits, time, effort
energy
to charity than you can
He
possibly
drives
imagine.
down south to do some charities.
He
I've seen.
he brings barbecue.
Yeah.
If you need some aid,
Yeah.
Jamie's there. The guy is
He's a
amazing.
special guy.
Jamie teamed up with another good friend of mine, Tyler Anderson,
And
from
that's opening
Millwrights.
soon, right?
That's
That's right.
the cook and the bear. So you got Bear, who's Jamie, and he's the
That's
barbecue
in West
pit
Hartford,
master.
going
Yep.
in West Hartford.
Opening soon.
In Blueback. Opening soon. I don't have a solid date, but you've got a James Beard nominated chef in Tyler, and then you've got a pit master, and they're coming together to take great barbecue and elevate it.
And you're going to add?
I have a concept. I have a space. I have someone who wants to do something. It's in New Haven. It's at the old bus terminal on the corner of State and James, an area that I want to see really develop. And so we're going to go in there. The space is called District. It's going to have a bunch of different outlets. It's going to be attached to an amphitheater. We're going to have a 5,000 square foot outdoor beer garden with a cook and the bear
go.
attached to it.
Go with you.
And we're
Field
also going to
trip.
be
You can
brewing
walk from here.
We're going to be brewing beer on site.
Oh, very cool.
It'll be a year from now. Right
Okay.
now, remediations are happening.
Okay,
They're
cool.
digging down. They're doing all this work.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
Maybe they'll be open in time for Oktoberfest next year.
I hope so.
Now, one more Oktoberfest beer I want to make sure we mention. Two Roads makes, it is called Oktoberfest because, Two Roads. And they're clever over there. So a local, real deal Oktoberfest beer that we had here that we loved. It's smooth. It's,
Beautiful label.
It's crisp.
They do
and
good beers.
What
Great people.
Amazing people. Great community. They're awesome.
Phil Markowski is the brewmaster there. And
That guy's a legend.
Yeah, loved it.
So we were laughing at Noah's on September 17th at noon. They had a keg of Spaten. They wouldn't allow us to have any until 12 noon.
Yes, there's an official kickoff, and maybe it started in
yeah.
Germany to stop people from getting
Starting
too drunk
at
on the first day. I don't know.
Did you get it?
11:51.
Did you have one at 12 noon?
Yes, we had the first 2 pints.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
The third guy to get his gets a liter, and they actually bring out like a liter glass, which
Stein.
I calculated weighs probably 8 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
So
Just let me say, watch out for that boot if they give you one of those.
Yeah.
The boot.
The air bubble exists, and you will get a face full at the end. I promise you.
Coming up after this break, the most essential of Oktoberfest foods outside of pretzels, and it's super easy to make, brats and sauerkraut. Chris dusted off one of his slow cookers and is getting you ready for your weekend tailgate. Join us in supporting our local food growers and food makers. For on-demand podcast delivery of the Food Schmooze every week, and for Faith's food, wine, cocktail, restaurant recommendations, and to watch our short videos and get all the info on local artisans and recipes we feature, we're always online talking with you at foodschmooze.org. Stay with us for Chris's recipe. We'll be right back.
Und so kam in den Himmel, und man hat ihm Milch serviert. Gegen diese Art Behandlung hat der Lümmel protestiert. Schnaps, das war sein letztes Wort.
We have one more mouth-watering bite of the Food Schmooze coming up. Here's something great to know about. Sign up for the app called NPR One. Just download it from the iPhone App Store or your Android device. And once you do, you can set WNPR as your local station. Couldn't be easier. Download the free app NPR One and start listening. Let's party on. More Food Schmooze.
Everything I do gonna be a funky from now on, yeah.
This is the Food Schmooze Party, offering the richness of life. Coming to you in Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and New York, including Westchester County, the East End of Long Island, of course, the Hamptons. To hear the show on WNPR, it airs Thursdays at 3 and Saturdays at noon. Podcasts and Faith's curated recommendations are always online at foodschmooze.org. And we're on Facebook, too, every day. You are the most fun crowd to talk to on Facebook, and we so appreciate you. Find us by searching Faith Middleton. Faith is away, but no worries. She'll be back soon. I am Robyn Doyon-Aitken. I produce today's show with lots of help from these phenomenal guys, Chris Prosperi of Metro Beast in Simsbury and wine broker Alex Province. Jason Sobosinski of Casius, Ordinary, and the Cheese Truck is our very special guest. If he's not careful, we're going to make him a regular. Here we go. Chris made us a slow cooker bratwurst and sauerkraut dish, and it was awesome.
I should say last night I made it.
Well, that's right. We ate
How long
it.
did that
No,
sauerkraut
but because
go for?
no,
Oh,
but because
amazing.
it's made in one of the slow cookers, so
Right.
that's why
one
I
of
made it
the
last night.
14.
No, there's actually 23 now in the collection.
We're gonna have an intervention.
No, but our old producer here on the show, Lori Mack, got me one piece of a modular set that you can plug other ones into. That
From
you,
cooker to cooker?
yeah, you can plug
Very
3 in
cool.
each, but I have 7 now.
So you
I'm
string 'em
building.
like Christmas
you string them
lights?
like Christmas lights.
Absolutely.
How cool is that?
Love the
So,
slow cooker.
so talk about tailgating, right? You can make 6 different dishes, 7 different dishes.
You need to be able to control it from your iPhone.
Yeah, that's coming, right?
a Bluetooth slow cooker.
Come on, huh?
Let's do that.
There'd be 24.
Tell us about this dish, because bratwurst is quintessential Oktoberfest food.
Yeah, and this is what I like to call a no-cook recipe, because you literally just take everything that's in this and put it in the crock pot. When I first got my first crock pot, I messed up a lot of recipes, because you can't make everything in a crock pot by just dumping all the ingredients in there. You have to really think about what you're going to use, and why crock pot number 14, 15, and 16 are the ones that you can actually take the insert and put on the stove.
Yeah,
So
okay.
for
Good
searing.
ones, yeah.
But most of mine are the ones that you just put stuff in, set on.
Are they numbered
Yes, they are.
with the
I have
magic
gotta
shelves.
keep
marker?
them
I have
organized.
Dude, I have Metro shelves for them. I know.
Let me give a quick
right,
rundown.
go ahead.
Chris's recipe, of course, like all recipes that we feature on the show, will be on foodschmooze.org. But let's just go through real quick. We're talking about bratwurst, a bag of sauerkraut that you can get at the store, diced onion, a can of beer, salt, pepper, sugar, thyme, and vinegar. So super simple. These are pantry staples.
Look for good ingredients. I bought a really good bratwurst. You can find them in all markets now, right? especially this time of year. If you want to take it up a step, my recipe calls for the bagged sauerkraut, but this time of year you can find the fresh stuff in jars.
Yeah.
That's really good. They're usually in the deli area of most
Refrigerated?
supermarket. Yeah, refrigerated. Ba Temple is one of the brands.
Check out some of the Polish
Polish delis.
They make killer sauerkraut.
So if
What's
you
it, Roly Poly in New Britain?
oh my
New
gosh,
Britain
yeah.
has
Yeah.
that's
6 or
like the
7
capital of the
them.
Polish delis. They make amazing
So
sauerkraut.
fresh sauerkraut, maybe just a little bit better, but you can make this with both. It's totally fine. So basically, bratwurst goes in the bottom of the slow cooker. I toss in the onions on top of that. The sauerkraut, I rinse it if it's the bagged stuff. Throw it right on top of the sausage and onion. I pour in my beer. I use Oktoberfest this time. A little bit of salt, just a pinch. Black pepper, more you like the spice, the more you add. The teeniest bit of sugar, some thyme, and a splash of vinegar. And then that was it. And I put the top on it, set it on low. I put it in there last night when I went to bed around 1. And this morning it was ready. And the house smelled like Oktoberfest. I came down the stairs and I'm like, what is... Oh, yeah.
I need a beer.
I need a beer.
You know, we didn't even talk about mustard.
I make a quick mustard sauce for my bratwurst sandwiches, and I take 2 different kinds. I take a whole grain mustard and a Dijon mustard, and I mix it with a little sour cream, and I throw in some chili pepper.
Yeah, that
Sour
was really
cream.
good.
Spread that on there, serve it with fresh pickles.
But then you put those Hungarian wax pickled peppers on there.
My chef is pickling everything in sight.
That really
because
brightened it up.
It's fall, right? And the farms are emptying out, like literally emptying out, and sending us pounds and pounds of stuff. This year we got 700-800 pounds of tomatoes to make sauce. I think my chef Brian ended up making 15 gallons of that pickled banana pepper. And that's the stuff we use all winter.
and you
right?
can save that.
We
and
make
make
salad dressing. Oh, yeah,
dressings.
totally.
man.
It's so funny how
pickle
these
stuff.
delicious foods are stuff that's like, it's the preservation, like we talked about before, but that's what makes the delicacy, right?
That's what
It's
makes
all
it
like,
great.
Oh my
But this
gosh.
is what fall food is because this is
we're
the
going
time.
into
Because
the
this is the
time when
time of
there's-
year,
yeah.
like Jason was saying about preserving cheese. This is October food or fall food or tailgating food is usually stuff like that. Jason, tailgate with me.
I'm
I'm not
like,
getting out of the car.
Yeah,
I'm not,
you
I'm not
go
a
for the
crazy.
car.
I'm not like an avid football fan.
Yeah.
You know, Connecticut's weird. Are you just Giants, Jets, Patriots? UConn. I went to Providence College in BU.
See, I'm a UConn.
But I love being outside this time of year. I love the fall. I love the autumn. I love the
Dust
crisp.
going by,
The
blue
crisp
sky.
air. If you're gonna ask me
The
to
trees
grill,
turning.
sure, I love grilling in the summer, but I like being next to a hot grill when it's nice
Yeah.
and crisp out. I got like a long sleeve light T-shirt on, and this is the time when we can really throw your brats on the grill, grill a bunch of onions. Let's grill some pears. Let's grill some apples and throw them with that camembert
people
and cheddar.
don't realize that. You can
can
grill
grill
stone
anything.
fruit and apples.
absolutely.
I mean, they grill up amazing.
If you have friends that are hunters, this is like when people are going hunting,
yeah.
so you're starting to get like bird, game,
Venison.
and, venison.
Yeah.
Oh, venison sausage.
Yeah, that's I have a recipe that I do with kielbasi, going back to Polish, and I take kielbasi, I put them on the grill, and then with that I chop up onions, toss them in a little oil, salt, pepper, and some dried herbs, put that on the grill, and peppers, put that on the grill. Then I take everything off the grill when it's done, and I chop it all, throw it in a bowl, and I call it my fall kielbasi salad. That's one of my favorite
sounds great.
tailgating
Oh, wow.
foods. So it's like this grilled vegetable and kielbasi. I toss in a little balsamic vinegar,
Throwing any
some
beans
olive
in?
oil. You can. That's what I'm saying. Any
fat
vegetable.
bean.
Peppers, green beans, zucchini, whatever. And then you just take it all in a bowl. Balsamic, salt, pepper, olive oil, maybe some fresh basil, and then that's your salad.
So
Put
I'm
that
like
on a roll.
I'm like a firm believer
some
that this
Gouda.
time of year is
Yes, exactly.
this is the time of year that your body's trying to get you to put on body fat for winter.
You got to bulk up.
I'm working
You gotta
on
bulk
it.
up.
Listen, I'm doing good.
That's right. So have you guys ever done
Ready to hibernate?
Have you done any engine block potatoes? Because I have a buddy who does it and swears by it. He says it's the best part of tailgating.
Yeah.
You wrap your
So it's a
potatoes.
hot engine.
Yeah.
So basically, you're going to wrap your potatoes up in
manifold.
foil.
Yep.
You can either do whole baked potatoes. You can slice them up and make a packet. You throw it on there.
Depending on how far you have to drive.
Well, now this is the thing. This is the thing. That depends on how far you're going to drive. But even if you're going to drive a far distance and then hang out and tailgate for a while, you throw them on there. It keeps them warm.
Yeah.
It cooks them on the way.
So I'm guessing you can use the tailpipe the same way. You just put it in the tank.
I wouldn't recommend that
But
one.
listen, there's whole books written on this.
Oh, wait. When you say you put them on there,
On the
what's
manifold.
there?
You put
On
them
the manifold.
You put them right on the
You should,
manifold.
yes.
I have a friend who drives long distance across the country, and he does this all times.
This
of
is
year.
a thing.
It's a thing. He
I
actually,
think
and
there might
fish.
even be a
he takes
cookbook
fish.
out there.
Yeah, there's books on it
about how to do this.
He takes fish and puts it in foil, wraps it butter, lemon, salt, pepper.
Wrap it in a foil packet, throw it on your engine.
On the edges,
So I feel like we need a disclaimer at this point because I feel like people are going to be going to their
right.
dealerships, like, after
listen,
this
when you-
kill
Can I
thing.
see
You're
what
like, is that a
can I see
fish
the
on your
manifold?
manifold?
Well, it's Oktoberfest, so we should all be doing like BMWs and Volkswagens.
Yes.
No, I'm just wondering if you guys had ever done. I
never
personally
done
have
it.
not, but I
I've
have
seen
a
it done.
buddy who's a huge Steelers fan,
Yeah.
and he said that that's a big thing in Pittsburgh. Everyone's doing engine block potatoes. They do engine block pizza. I mean, it's kind of a big thing for
I
tailgating.
have never heard of this.
Oh my gosh, just Google
Never.
it. It is all over
So
the place.
I do
And
like
it voids
to
your
tailgate.
warranty, by the way.
Alex keeps his car so pristine he would never cook.
God,
Well,
no.
if you want to see how you're doing, you put the vents on, you do smell tests.
smell it,
you know.
okay.
And my friend, he does say that. You smell it.
You smell it.
You smell it coming through on the ends. You're like, oh, dinner's almost ready.
I know. Or would you have your meal and it sort of has these notes of antifreeze?
Motor oil.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So you guys know what the Weber Cube is? So Weber Grill makes a tailgating grill, and it's called the Cube.
What is
so
it? I don't know this.
It's
I'm not
a
familiar.
small Weber gas grill. It's not very big. It sits on your tailgate. I bought the little stand that's on wheels that actually folds down and is the cart.
Uses
for
the
grill.
green propane tank?
Yeah, it uses or the blue.
okay.
Yeah, the little bottles that you screw in there, and that's
Very
enough for
portable.
4 hours. And let me tell you, I take the thing everywhere, and it's not just for tailgating. You can take it to the beach. So that was part one of my tailgating kit, and then the other one is when a friend turned me on to. You can take your charger in your car, the charging port.
Yeah.
You can buy an adapter and get it to be a 120 plug, and that's how I take my crock
Well, then your
pots with
crock
me.
pot.
So I plug my crock pots in the back, put the cord in the power charger, and then I
Now
You
you got
need
tailgate
solar
fun
I
to do.
slow cook on my way.
You need solar panels on your car.
Solar panels, see,
There you
that's
go.
good. Do it. But see, there's a whole art to this, and I mean, go online. There's so much stuff you can get for tailgating. Come on, Alex, you do some backyard fall stuff.
Just cook in your driveway. It's the same thing.
For me, nothing's better than in the fall getting a burn permit and then clearing the brush out of your yard. And then at the end of the afternoon, you're making baked potatoes wrapped in tinfoil and you're cooking on the ashes. And it's part of it. It's in our
talking
DNA,
about.
Basically
right?
the same thing. Just
Yeah.
we use gasoline.
And then there's a game afterwards.
Yeah, and you don't have to.
people
listen,
shall
To
I-
go in the game. A lot of people just hang out outside.
I'm with Jason. I'm not a huge football fan,
But
at
I'm going to the
all.
tailgate.
But the tailgating is like this. It's this culture now, and you can
It's a
have
big
more
party.
fun in the parking lot before the game than you can during.
So
the
people
game.
are doing chili. Classic is chili,
Well,
right?
and people will go around and they'll share food with you.
Yep.
You'll
Oh,
look
I
at
do
the guy
that.
across the parking lot and he's got something amazing on the grill and
Ribs.
it smells good. And you bring over what you've got, and now you've
liking
got
it.
new friends. You're trying new food, and you're outside.
It's this
kind of a cool
community.
thing, yeah.
Yep. I know nothing about football, but I am in it for the food.
All right, Robin, I'm with you.
Okay, so we don't have a ton of time left, but while we have Jason here, let's have him talk about some of the stuff he's got coming up in October and that he knows about happening around the state, because it's some good stuff. Jason, what does your
Yeah,
calendar
take us
look
around-
like?
take us around the state.
This is the harvest. So we've got
Yeah.
just a glut of amazing ingredients and so many cool events. All right, so I am doing a barbecue pop-up
Ooh.
at my own bar, Ordinary, where we serve barbecue. But this one's going to be kind of unique. I'm going to bring back smokebox barbecue dishes.
Oh, I love
from
smoke
the old
box.
smoke box
Yeah,
in Hamden
in
that we had for a
Hamden.
year. We're going to do it on a Sunday, and it's going to be themed after the iconic Tom Cruise movie Cocktail.
Loved it.
So there is
Am
a
I showing my
speech
age? Yes, I know the speech.
during the movie
No,
where
oh,
he
God.
gets up on the bar and goes
Oh,
through
yeah.
a bunch of different
Ray-Ban
cocktails.
sunglasses.
Ray-Ban
We are going to be
sunglasses.
featuring those. It's called Barbecue and Dreams. Tim Cabral will be getting up on the bar,
Giving that speech?
giving the speech, making those
I hope you
iconic
video it.
cocktails, some of which I can't even pronounce right here on the radio because they're not appropriate. So that
Thank you.
that one is Sunday, October 9th at Ordinary. Come on down,
That
starting
sounds
at
cool.
4:00.
Get your teeth whitened beforehand.
Yes, please get your teeth whitened. Bring
The Tom
wear
Cruise
your
way.
best 80s garb.
Yeah, I might have to go looking in the closet.
You still have?
I probably still do have them.
It's gonna be fun on the Sunday the 23rd of October. I'm going to be at Waldingfield Farm up in Washington, Connecticut,
Oh, I
doing
love it there.
a
Great
farm dinner.
tomatoes there.
Best.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a
Awesome
100% organic farm.
Yeah.
It's 3 generations deep, and if you've never been to Washington, Connecticut, I highly recommend it. It's like you're transported into Vermont somehow.
I live in that area. It's
the-
gorgeous.
We're going to do a 1:00 farm tour. with beverages and a little nosh. And then we're going to sit down at 3 p.m. for a nice early dinner. And by the time dinner finishes, we'll be at the highest point in Washington, and we will watch the sunset. It will blow your mind. This is all to benefit NOFA, the Northeast Organic Farm Association, which Casius and Black Hog are members of. And
Our friend John Terrain.
Yep. John is awesome. And Chris Prosperi, Your Space, Metro Beach, you guys are doing a cookbook dinner.
Oh, yeah.
With my cookbook.
Jason has an
Casius
awesome
Fromagerie Bistro cookbook.
Yeah.
Classic bistro dishes. That's just basically a dinner, and you get a book, and you drink.
And you get to hang out with Jason
and
in the
I'll be
dining
there.
room.
I called Chris up and said, so what do I do? He goes, come eat and hang out. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that sounds good. Check out our website. We have so many classes.
That's what I want to start going
The
to,
classes
right?
are really fun. Bring a date. You get to meet our cheese buyers, our wine and
Ask
beer
all
buyers.
the questions you
Every
want
question
about
you've ever wanted
cheese
to know.
and-
Yeah. Remember, these are those second-tier cheeses. People leave full
And smiling.
buzzed.
Happy. So I've got one for anyone who loves garlic. The 12th Annual Connecticut Garlic and Harvest Festival is October 8th and 9th.
Nice.
Route 61 in Bethlehem, Connecticut. So
Awesome.
And then they have a kissing
Smiley.
contest right afterwards.
vampires are not welcome.
Good.
So fun. Thank you so much, Jason Sobocinski, for saving my guests from yet another boring cheese plate.
Thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure.
The Faith Middleton Food Schmooze is on WNPR Thursdays at 3 and Saturdays at noon. Weekdays, listen for Faith's fun 60-second food schmoozes. I'm Robyn Doyon-Aitken, signing off for the gang in the WNPR studio in New Haven, where it smells like a funky cheese cave. Thank you for listening.
Everybody eats when they come to mind.
This is the place to enjoy the richness of life. Sharing our local and national discoveries with you makes me want to get up in the morning. The gang and I hope you'll come back soon and often.